Street Talk Sports. Super special here with you guys today. Gonna get into a little boxing today, man. I'm a big boxing fan. See, you probably can't really see it from this view, but he got Ali on the wall back there. Big boxing fan, man. Uh, Always been a supporter of that sport. You know what I mean? Always, even back in the day as a little kid, the boys club used to box and do a lot of different little things or whatever. So, talk about Errol Spence Jr., man. A lot of bad negative press my man is getting, people making up things, talking about he's making excuses and all this and that. Come on, man. It's been 3 years since the fight, man, with Crawford, man. 3 years, man. The man ain't made up any excuses in all this time. The man just was asked on the interview with Andre Ward. I made some questions or whatever. The man never said he lost the fight because of any one thing that he was talking about. Kind of was just telling you guys what led up, to the fight and what happened, what he was going through, different things like that. Never really made a true excuse, Even with his trainer James, he never said blame James. He just kind of said if he was a trainer, looking back, like he may have did things like this or like that or whatever, but never blamed anybody for whatever, man. Stand-up guy, man. Spence is, great fighter. Me personally, um, I think he's a great person, but you never know what people are going through up to a fight. And he did say some things or let some things out of the bag that, he was going through, and a lot of things that he wished he would do different, that he probably would do different, moving forward or whatever. So, you know, getting a lot of bad press for my man and everything. But like I said, man, this fight, um, the fight with Crawford, to me, you know, don't get me wrong. Errol's from right here. I'm from Dallas. He's from right here in Dallas, man, or whatever. I support him, man. I think he's a great fighter. But it's different style fights, man. It's different style fighters or whatever. And Errol Spence Jr., man, he's now early in his days, he used to move around a lot in the ring. He used to do a lot of boxing, a lot of moving and dodging. And, he did some of that. But later on in his career, he got stronger and he felt superior to a lot of guys. So he started to walk fighters down. That was his style, walk fighters down, boom, 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 kind of no disrespect to the Spanish fighter, but a lot of Mexican guys fight in this style. You know what I'm saying? Most black fighters, we got a little more a skill with we move a lot more, what I'm saying, dodge or whatever. Do a lot it's different. That's why I say a lot of good Mexican fighters always lose against good black fighters because of that style, the way we fight and the way we move. And the Mexican style, he's straightforward, straight ahead, boom boom, straight downhill type thing. And Earl Spence kind of fight like that. And with Bud Crawford, man, you you're not gonna be able to beat. First of all, too many people are not gonna be able to beat Bud. You know what I mean? Bud just one of those kind of guys. He's hard nosed, plus he has skills. He can fight any kind of way. He can switch up, change up. He can fight any kind of way. You know what I mean? He's one of those kind of guys. If you hit him, he's gonna try to hit you harder. He's also like that. So Bud is a different kind of beast. You know what I mean? And to me, for Spence, on any given day, minus all the stuff he was talking about, to me, on any given day, he'd have to be at his top of his game, and Bud would have to be off his game for for Earl to be able to beat him. That's just my view of it. Now I could be wrong. I'm no expert, but me just knowing fighters and watching it, I think it would have to go that way for Earl to beat Bud Crawford, and I'll be the first to say, when that fight jumped off, I was like, man, he didn't look right. He did not look right. He looked like he was almost uh uh sedazed by like something. He was somebody that had gave him something or something to relax him. I don't know. He just looked weird. He did not look like himself. And I said that from the first round. I said he didn't look like himself. So I knew that was gonna be a long day for him or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But like I say, man, he's a great fighter. He's a great fighter. But sometimes, man, you just have to understand, I don't care if it's on a basketball court, on a football field, tennis court, boxing ring, some days you just have to realize that the opponent is better than you. You know what I mean? Or today is that opponent's day. You know, it might not be better overall, but that day is his day. And sometimes that's just what it is. And I think it was a combination of that. You know what I'm saying? Because me personally, I like Errol Spence Jr. and I think he's a great fighter with his style or whatever. And the average fighter, even above, not just the average fighter, but most fighters on any given day, he's going to beat them. But if you get a guy like Bud, who's a mixture between being able to walk you down, a hard nosed guy, and a Floyd, and a, you know, he got some of all of it. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be hard to beat him if you're a straight downhill guy and you coming straight forward and this is what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? And mind you, Errol Spence, he's gonna get hit a lot. He's going to get hit a lot, you know what I'm saying? But he's been able to take punches like that, you know what I'm saying? He's going to get hit a lot. So, you know, that's another thing, you know what I'm saying? So, me personally, I feel like it'll be a rough day for him, you know, on any given day with that fight. You know, he named a lot of things that led up to the fight, man, that he was doing or whatever. You know, you got a guy like Bud Crawford, who's a guy like me. Don't smoke, don't drink, you know, never have, never will. It's just all about that sport. You know, you got it's going, you know, that's like a Floyd Mayweather. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's gonna be hard to beat guys, you know what I'm saying, like that. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be hard to beat guys like that, man. You know. So, you know, and then Errol Spence, he even said it, you know, we know he's a drinker. I don't know if he's a smoker or not, but we know he drank or whatever. And he was doing a lot of it, a lot of partying, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Even when he was training, he said, you know, he just really mostly just drank water. He didn't drink a lot of electrolytes and replenish his body with different stuff. A lot of stuff he wasn't doing. And I guarantee you Bud Crawford was doing those things. All that stuff makes a difference, man. It truly makes a difference. But me personally, I think with everything still, it still would have been a tough outing for him. It'd have been a better output, I think, but it still would have been tough for him with that fight. You know, with a guy like a Bud Crawford, who's just, you know, just one of those kind of guys that has that it thing like that. So, you know, and then you got Spence has this upcoming fight, you know, everybody, you know, talking about that or whatever with the guy, Tim Zoo, you know what I'm saying? I watched him or whatever, and he's a pretty good fighter, you know what I'm saying? Pretty good fighter. Uh, I would say, me personally, I think Errol Spence Jr. is a better fighter than him on a given day. I think he's a better fighter. And, me personally, I think he'll win. I just have and I know also that Earl is looking at it. Earl looks to me to be a little faster than him. So, but my only thing with this fight, you know, that Earl has coming up, man, what I would be worried about, uh, you know, I know it's been 3 years or whatever, but how would how would him taking a punch be like? You know, because you know, after something like he went through, the accidents, all this different stuff, how is it going to be with him taking a punch? You know what I'm saying? You know, that's going to be important. If he get in there and, you know, he get rocked a couple times early, you know, that could just take him back or whatever. That could just change the whole direction of the fight. So my biggest thing would be, how will he take a punch at this stage in his career right now? If that's okay, if he can take a punch or whatever because of his style of fighting, he's gonna get hit. He's coming straight down the line, he's coming straight down the pipe, and he's giving it to you. He's gonna get hit. He's gonna get hit. So how could he take a punch? You know what I mean? Because if you get in there and you get dazed real fast, you know, your mind starts to go, then, you know, you start to, you know, think otherwise, you're not as confident or whatever. So I think it'll be a different fight. So, but I'm excited, man, to see it. I'm wishing him well, man. He's a good guy. I think he's learned a lot. All his mistakes, all the things, the accidents, drinking or whatever, whatever, all has brought him to this place. And I think he's hit a point where if his head is right as far as taking a punch, I mean everything else it seems like he's on a better course as far as his training, as far as what he's doing out of the ring and with his family. His whole life seems better right now from all this from all everything he's just been through. So I think that If the head part is right as far as him being able to take a punch, that's my only worry. If he can, if that's good with him, he'll win this fight. He'll win this fight. He'll win this fight because I feel like he's faster, and I feel like he's more of a physical specimen over Tim Zoo. So I do feel like he will take this fight as long as that thing is there with his head and everything. He can take that punch. He'll win this fight. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, man, hats off to him, man. He's a great person. He's from right here in the hood. I love him as a fighter. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully he'll get in there and he'll do his thing and he'll show us all a glimpse of what he used to be before all this stuff went down or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So and like I say, man, the man's a man, man. He hasn't made any excuses, man. He's given Crawford all the glory, whatever. Never really spoke about none of this in 3 years. So all this talk about um him making up excuses. No, man, it's not excuses, man. Somebody's doing an interview. He's telling you what led up to the fight and things like that. And that's just what it is. You know what I'm saying? He never said he lost the fight because of this. He just said, hey, he was the better man than me at then. He said that earlier. So, he's not that kind of a dude, man. He don't even talk enough to be here worried about making excuses over some 3 years ago. You know what I'm saying? The guy was in an interview. The interview went the way it went, and that's what it was. You know what I'm saying? So, and by the way, Andre Ward that was a good interview. So if you haven't watched that, go check that out or whatever. But anyway, man, just a short interview on that, man. I thought I'd get here from a hometown guy and I'll talk a little bit about it, man. But good luck to him. And like I say, I do think he'll win the fight as long as everything is all right upstairs with him or whatever. So we wait to see when that happens. But we'll be tuned in. We'll be tuned in with it for sure. But anyway, Street Talk Sports.